Okay, so rubification, patent pending. So why do we struggle with the CI stuff? Why do we constantly talk about why transformations fail? Why is this such a prevalent issue for us? It seems systemic in it. I'm going to say part of the reason is because we over-engineer our approaches. We make them too complicated getting out of the gate. Right? It's crawl, walk, run, not Usain Bolt right out of the gate, right? It's too much of an ask. There's a lot of work in maintaining these CI systems. Let's see if we can develop a little bit of behavior first and then build on that incrementally, right? Just like the Agile approach, okay? So if you're gonna, hopefully nobody brought anything really heavy to throw at me. I'm gonna talk about a couple taboo things. I love Kata. I absolutely love it out of the box, straight out of the book. It's wonderful. Mike Rother, Professor Rother over at the University of Michigan did a great job describing the behaviors that he saw in Toyota. Trying to implement Kata, textbook fashion, from no Kata to all of the dynamics, the systems, the learner storyboards, all of that, that's a huge administrative burden, right? We have a frame of reference for this stuff. Let's apply it to ourselves. Ideal state, what does perfection look like? Current state, future state 1, future state 2, future state 3. I'll say out of the box, Kata is ideal state. Folks, we gotta iterate towards that. Work towards it incrementally, right? Build on our successes, not just jump to the whole thing. Nobody threw anything, okay, cool. So how can we simplify this? This was actually taught to me before the Kata book came out, and it's right in line with one of the questions that's in there. I'm actually going to spend more time on this than I usually do because I think this can scale and help folks right when you leave here. It's such a simple framework, right? Right in line with Kata, and if you can get people to do this, it's powerful. So what is your goal? Questions 1 and 2 should have numbers in them. What's your goal? What's your actual? Here's the tricky part. The difference between 1 and 2 is a gap. The question we love to ask is, what is the problem that we're trying to solve? That's your answer. The problem that we're trying to solve is the gap between 1 and 2, okay? The closer you are to having actual numbers in there, the quicker you can get to alignment on something, or misalignment, and be able to see it quickly. 3 is what is the cause of that gap. 4 is what is your plan to address it. And then 5, I love question 5. Please, please, please don't remove question 5 if you adopt this. As a leader, how may I help you? If the team's stuck, we don't have an actual goal. You asked us to fix something, we don't even know what direction to go in. Oh, I'll help you with that as a leader. They can get stuck in any of these. We have our goal, we know our current state, our actual, where we're at today. We don't know the cause. Oh, let me help you with that. We got the first 3 down. We're stuck on plan. We're stuck on solution. What to do about, let me help you with that, okay? It's such a beautiful conversation. Often this is referred to as a conversational A3. If you recognize this at all, if you're familiar with A3 thinking, Managing to Learn, awesome book, right? The first 3 questions are the left-hand side of the A3. Question 4 is the right, solution side. The mantra for us in a simplified fashion is stay to the left, stay to the left, stay to the left. Talk about the problem side before you ever talk about the solution side, right? That's such a struggle. And when I say that, I'm saying all the way up and down the leadership org chart, okay? We violate it all the time. I've been mentored by a lot of folks, a lot of organizations over the years. Herman Miller is one of the ones that I'm just in awe of. They are a small office furniture manufacturer. I shouldn't say small, global office furniture manufacturer headquartered in Michigan. They partnered with us when I worked for a healthcare system, and they taught us their version of CI. So I started out, I learned project-based CI, and then another mentor taught me event-based CI, and then another mentor, Herman Miller, taught me daily. And they all 3 didn't look anything like one another. And when I got to daily, I'm like, why didn't anybody else teach me this approach, right? That's another conversation. So daily problem solving. What does that look like? If you've ever done A3s, one of the questions I love to throw out there is, have you ever done an A3 in a day? Why not? What's getting in the way of that? What are the struggles that prevent that from happening, right? One of the things that Herman Miller, and I'll attribute this more accurately to Mr. Oba. Oba-san was their sensei from Toyota. They partnered with TMMC to learn this approach. Oba-san would say, no, no, or not on left side. So this is tricky. If we talk about problem statements, and really good problem statements are like one sentence, avoiding the words no or not in your problem statement. If you've not struggled with this, I've struggled with this for 19 years, and it's still hard for me. For example, let's apply it up here. When conversations start, when you go into a project meeting, into a meeting with your leader, your team, peers, use this framework and figure out where they're starting the conversation. And I'll put good money down. I got $1 billion this morning from an earlier presenter. I'll put good money down that they're starting with number 4. They're telling you the solution or the plan that they want to implement. Here's the software we want to buy. Here's the consultants that we want to hire. Here's the training we want to give, right? Here's the vendor we want to work with. Solution, solution, solution. Great, to solve what problem? Oh, well, we don't have that software. Okay, so no, we're just reverse engineering our solution, right? That's lazy problem solving, right? We're just saying no software is the problem that we're trying to solve. No. We think the software is actually going to automate some function, reduce our lead time. Or we think it's going to improve our accuracy because we're transposing information from one system into another, right? So we think we're going to do a quality improvement, things like that, right? That's what we're actually trying to go for. The example that we use to try to get people to internalize this is a non-relevant example. So from a behavioral science perspective, use non-relevant examples when you're trying to teach a model. That way people don't get stuck in the example, they learn the model instead. So if they're trying to learn this model and you're teaching it to IT people, don't use IT examples. We use sprinklers. So the example that we use, the non-example that we use is number 4, I want to implement underground sprinklers. Okay, to solve what problem? Anybody? No underground sprinklers. That's where they come, first time, right? They're learning this approach, and that's what they put up in 1 and 2. No underground sprinklers. But here's the thing that we learned from Oba-san is that limits your thinking, that limits your problem solving. And you know it does, and you know it's a bad approach, and you know you're not at current state, right? If you can only take one path. If my problem statement is no underground sprinklers, there's only one path I can take to question number 4, to my solution. Underground sprinklers, right? No, that's not the problem I'm trying to solve. The problem I'm trying to solve is dead lawn. It looks bad. Neighbors are complaining. I'm about to get fined, things like that, right? So if dead lawn is the problem that you're trying to solve, where can you go with that? Anyone? What's that? Artificial lawn, yes. Paint the lawn. Rip up the lawn and install rocks, right? There's so many options that you have if you're at true current state, right? But if you only have one path, you're not at true current state, okay? A little bit of preaching. Sorry, you put me on stage. I also want to use this. So Shingo was mentioned earlier. It was an excellent presentation that happened. I want to say you can also use this in the same mentality as a Shingo assessment. So if you've looked at lean maturity assessments and things like that, you can use this framework to assess current state problem-solving thinking behaviors in your organization. When you walk into meetings, again, having discussions, what's happening? Are people talking about number 4? As they evolve, as they mature with their problem-solving ability, they start to switch the order around. And eventually they start with number 2. Oh, sorry, this happened again. We're a Google Suite company, not a Microsoft Office. So when it gets, what is it called? Converted into Microsoft Office, this happens. So indexing with 11111 is absolutely of no value at all. So this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perhaps everything I just said makes a little more sense now. So the fourth one, plan, is where a lot of conversations will start when problem-solving behavior is beginning. As people evolve, they start to use actual. Oh, this is where we're at today. Then they start using, and this is our goal, and then they start getting into cause and things like that. Thank you. ideal state is they start with the goal first before they get to the actual, right? So think about it this way. Our house is on fire this many times right now. Okay, how often do you want it on fire? That's a silly question. Is it? 0. Oh, okay, thank you. Now I understand. Great. If we start with the goal first, we can actually start being strategic, enterprise-wide with this work.